Good day, students. Today I want to show you a little bit about how to use some of the tools that are built into Kiddom. This is a checkpoint where you're trying to show your teacher you're learning. So the first thing that you want to do when you get to a checkpoint is use the full screen button. That's this guy right there to make your workspace bigger so you can see it. Now, my task here is to count these things by grouping using 10 frames. So I need to stack up groups of 10. I can stack up my shapes using my finger and dragging one at a time. I can also use the touchpad here. So I personally like to use two hands on the touchpad. So I'm clicking with one and dragging with the other. But I've seen some of you just pick it up with one finger, drag it over, whoops, and drop it down. It's not quite as easy for me to do as it is for you. All right, until I get 10. So do I have 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I think so. Okay. Some other things you'll notice about the screen. If you touch an object for too long, you'll get this menu that pops up over here. That is not important or useful to you in particular for your task of solving the problem. So just click anywhere and that will make that menu disappear because you don't really need to use that menu. You will notice that you do have some gray bars on this side, which let you move things up and down if you can't see, or left and right if you're having trouble seeing everything on your screen. I can just kind of drag down here with two fingers scrolling. That's another way to move the screen. These are super useful to zoom in and zoom out. So if I get my screen all crowded and I can't see, I can just zoom out and get a better view of what is going on my screen, or zoom in. This button right here is going to set it back to 100%. Basically, that is where we started. That's a zoom level of 100%. There's also an undo button, and an undo is a quick and easy way to get rid of your very last move. And you'll notice what is happening here is every time I click undo, it's taking away the very last move that I just did. Finally, there is a reset button. If you get things really confused and you just want to start over again, this button right here, the backwards curly Q, just go ahead and click that. It will say, do you want to start over? And you say, yes, I do. And now we're reset back to exactly like the problem looked when I started it at the beginning. You'll also notice there's a bunch of tools on this screen that you just don't really need to use. For example, these pen tools down here. My task is to count by tens. I don't need to use a pen or an eraser here down here, but in the future, I might be doing a problem where I do need to use a pen. So that's why they're there. Same with these tools over here on the left-hand side. For this problem, you don't need them, so you don't need to bother with those tools. Here is an example of a checkpoint where you might want to use a tool. So again, I'm going to go full screen. And in this case, my job is to count by 5. So it's giving me a 5 frame. So I can quickly fill that up. Whoops, makes my work really fast. But if I'd like some more frames, I can go over here and find some. They're under the ruler. So if you click the ruler, you'll see the 5 frame, a 10 frame, and other things that you might be using later in the year as math goes on. But if I want to use this 5 frame, I can just start clicking it and it's just going to literally drop it right out here. Again, it's showing that menu that you can just ignore. So I can just drag another one out. Boop. And I can drag another one out, and I can drag as many of these 5 frames out as I really want. And if that's something that's going to help you count by fives, then you can use that tool. If I click the ruler again, that makes the menu disappear. And do you remember where we went if we wanted to start the whole problem over again? Yep, right down here to the reset button. Once I have an answer in my head and I'm ready to give my answer, I'm going to minimize the full screen box because the question is really here. Group and count by fives. How many squares are there? And when I type into this box where it says answer here, I'll get the on-screen keyboard, which I can just touch the number that I want to touch, or I can type on my keyboard as long as I'm clicked in the box. So if the answer is 45, I can type in 45. All right, that should get you started with the tools in Kiddom.